All right, so my name is Luke Johnson, and I am in Group 28. I am a public health major, and I am a senior.
Hi, my name is Roger. I am a junior and I'm majoring in meteorology.
Hi, my name is Ashley Windham. I'm a senior and I'm majoring in petroleum engineering.
Hi, my name is Jake Hrbacek. I'm a senior and I'm majoring in industrial distribution.
So basically, we're going to be talking about the flood hazards in the hill country. So, by definition, based on the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, a flood is defined, if I can see, as a overflowing of water onto normally dry land. It could be caused due to heavy rainfall, dams, levees, failures, or snow melting. Flash floods are a very dangerous type of flood hazard due to the combination of high speed and flooding. Flash floods are caused due to heavy rainfall occurring at a specific area in a short amount of time, exceeding the time that the ground can absorb it. So we're going to be focusing more on the hill country in South Central Texas. So based on the community, while debated upon, about 3.8 million people reside in the hill country. Some popular cities and towns that make up the area are San Antonio, Austin, New Braunfels, San Marcos, Kerrville, Fredericksburg, Lago Vista, Marble Falls, and Wimberley. Individuals that reside near creeks, rivers, and valleys are more vulnerable to facing flash floods, while in urban areas, that have poor drainage systems, limited soil absorption, and increased runoff are prone to floods. Now, on the terrain side, the hill country consists of the Edward Plateau and the uh, Balcones. The Edwards Plateau is made up of rolling hills and steep canyons, while the Balcones drop sharply in elevation between the coastal plains and the plateau. The soil in the area is very thin, dry, and rocky, making it really difficult for water to absorb really quickly. Rivers that flow through the area is the Guadalupe River, Colorado River, Llano River, and Blanco River.
A few of our proposed mitigation techniques was expanding rain and river gauges, improving early warning systems, floodplain management, as well as evacuation routes. So you can install additional high resolution gauges across rivers and tributaries in the hill country. You can enable emergency managers to detect dangerous rises of water within minutes. So you have some more time to evacuate. You can reduce warning time from hours to minutes, which is critical in the hill country where water rises really quickly. And you can also improve communication for between residents, school, and first responders. Regulate development in areas with frequent flash flooding, encourage elevation buyouts and low impact development to reduce runoff, identify and mark high ground routes for communities surrounded by low water crossings, improve signage, lighting, and access to safe exits during sudden flooding events, as well as conducting drills to make sure residents know quick and safe evacuation paths before these disasters occur. A few of these benefits would be reduced property loss, better floodplain management, hopefully limiting the number of homes and businesses placed in high-risk areas, help prevent a lot of fatalities. Faster detection equals faster warnings, so hopefully we can save more people when we see those water levels rising quickly, as well as help build long-term community resilience to extreme weather, mitigation infrastructure to minimize long-term economic disruption and recovery costs. And finally, to encourage a safe culture where residents, agencies, and local governments work together to reduce future flash flood impacts.
So, as is the case with any plan or mitigation technique you put into place, there's going to be some challenges. And the biggest of those challenges is cost. So, with our mitigation plan, one of those cost factors is going to be upgrades to infrastructure. You're going to install new rain and river gauges as well as those warning systems, and then that improving the flood mapping and the all the other things that Ashley discussed is going to require quite a bit of upfront money, quite a bit of money that the government is going to have to put forward to mitigate these risks. Um, and under all those costs, we're going to run into we need to find people who are going to go out there and build it, who have the technical expertise to put it in and install it in the right way. to avoid the third cost factor, which is maintenance. These things are constantly needing to be inspected because if one day they don't work and that's the day that a flood hits, that can result in a loss of life. There's a significant amount of data that's flowing through all of these sensors and all of these various detection methods. So they're going to need software updates and replacement cost, and there's going to need be costs that come with the replacement of these. And so some of the other challenges that the community might face in implementing some of these plans is the property rights. If we're adding new floodplain restrictions or land changes, that can affect where people can build, that can affect what people can do with their own personal property, and that can cause a lot of resistance and uprising from civilians, and it could make some challenges like this even more difficult on top of the cost that I already discussed. Whenever you go and do construction like this, like on the previous slide, you could see the significant amount of construction that goes into installing sensors and installing stuff, equipment like this. There's going to be road closures, there's loud noises, and you're going to have to modify evacuation routes and inform people on those new evacuation routes. And then on top of that, there's going to be some environmental concerns. We're changing the path of rivers. We're going to be adding new things. We're going to be changing habitats, and that can affect the wildlife. That can affect how water is flowing. That can affect where runoff goes. Some social barriers that you can run into, some social challenges, is that the perception of this mitigation is costly for a what if scenario. Why are we spending all this money? Why are we spending taxpayer dollars for something that could potentially not happen? So unequal representation is something we also might run into as a social issue. Many different cities, countries, regions will disagree on cost responsibility. We're talking long stretches of river, long, big lakes, big pieces of land that all need to be under the same system and be monitored in the same way. And who's going to pay for that? What city's going to pay for that? Is it going to be the big cities or the smaller cities?
All right, so let's talk about some realistic ways to achieve these goals and costs. First off, you got to talk about funding solutions, including state and federal grants, university partnerships, and then, of course, collaboration between jurisdictions. First, let's talk about state and federal grants, particularly FEMA. They have this program called the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, which supplies millions and billions of dollars to these communities in times of disaster. So this would be a great opportunity for areas, especially in the hill country, to receive some fundings. It's also important to highlight the importance of university partnerships, especially here at Texas A&M, as well as other universities around the state of Texas. By doing this, you can significantly reduce cost as well as use viable resources. As I said before, you can reduce cost by not having to hire as many independent contractors as these salaries and budgets will significantly increase. And it is also important to make sure that everyone's on the same page when you compare jurisdictions such as cities, counties within these areas, as well as just the region as a whole. Additionally, two more points that I'd like to make involve cost-effective implementation strategies, and then, of course, overcoming pushback. One big aspect that I think is important is to break these projects into phases rather than starting a bunch of projects at once. I think it is very important to save money in one fiscal year by starting phases at different times in different years. Additionally, I think also using budget-friendly technology while also being effective is important. And then, of course, just reaching out to the community, whether that's getting them to spread awareness to other people or other communities or the media, or if we can just even get them to volunteer on some of these projects. And, of course, overcoming pushback. Education is probably the most vital tool over all of this. We want to make sure that transparency is put out for all of these residents, the media, because we want them to have a good understanding of where all of these funds are going, rather than just spending money and not telling the public where tax dollars are going. And here are our references.